Anybody with one of these LT 40s or 50s with a board return, they know that the board return is set up on an angle right there. I know Woodmizer does it, and it's probably designed for like a 12-inch cant, something like that. And it does real good whenever you're down here near 12 inches. Well, I just sawed up a 30, that's the fletchings that come off of a 34 inch on the bottom. I'm gonna say it was 32 on the top, log 8 feet long. And when you're way up here, whenever it starts pushing it back, the board gets down here and it'll kick it way out over there. And let me turn this up. I'm gonna turn the fan up so it don't blow down here and cause too much noise. But when you're up there 25 inches, it kicks it around and knocks it off over here. And how I get around it is I just take me a couple 1x12s and I set it up on my kicker over here. When it comes off, it does pretty good. And the other thing I do is I'll saw 3 or 4 or 5 boards and then shove them off, and it'll stay in line a little better than if you do one at a time. But once you get below like I'm gonna say 18, it does better, but it still kicks them off pretty far. I know Woodmizer did that so that when it comes back, it won't like hit all your controls and all that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, the angle they have is too strong of an angle. They could make it, that angle up there is probably, I'm just guessing like 15-20%. And I'm saying if they would cut it in half, I think it would make it a whole lot better to shove it straight back, because it's so aggravating to me. Now, if you're sawing real long stuff, if I saw all the way back here, say I got 16-foot stuff and, you know, my logs back here, it's not really no problem. And if it's, you know, 12, 14-inch stuff, it ain't really a problem. And it does real good with like 1x12s. If you have a single 2x4 or 2x6, if you're trying to saw 2 2x4s or 2 2x6s, man, they just go crazy. This one here is going to fall off over there every time, and this one's going to go over here. I wish they would make fingers like on the 70 that would stick back to help guide it. I don't know why they don't make that. I mean, I'm sure there's something with the weight and all that kind of stuff, but if they would do that, I would buy it to put on there if it would help just keep it from going this way or going that way. And that's what them fingers on the 70s do. They'll flop this way, but they won't flop that way, and it'll keep the board from shooting over. And if they come up with it, or somebody else come up with something like that, man, it would be so handy. And the other thing that I think Woodmizer should do is they should redesign this head on the 40s and all, and they should give you 13 inches of clearance with the board return on it. And the reason why I say that is, like this here, it was I had a 24-inch can up here, but I can't split the cant in half to saw 1x12s. Most people are gonna saw, you know, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12s. I saw a pile of 12s because of building all these feed troughs and all. Well, if I could split it, you can see these are 25-inch boards. If I could split it in half, and I wouldn't cut 2 1x12s at a time, but I could throw my can off instead of having to cut them like this. Then I gotta go back, stand all these up and rip them in half to do it, because I got the EG 100 and it's only takes 17 inches, I think it is the max you can put through it. I know these 25s won't fit any which way, but it would make it a whole lot better. Now, if I don't have the board return on, yeah, you know, it's got about 13, 14 inches of clearance. But with the board return, it has like 11 and 7/8 or 5/8 or it's something stupid, like it's right there at 12 inches, and that's so aggravating. And I mean, if they did that and they would make the throat on this thing 2 inches bigger, I would sell this mill and buy a brand new one just for that reason, so that I could split a can in half and cut, you know, 1x12s out of it. Because I have a pile of large logs. I go look for 20-30 inch logs so I can get the most 1x12s out of them. They're not good for anybody else. Big sawmills around here don't want that big stuff. I don't want it if it's over 8 feet long, really, but because it's heavy and hard on a machine. That log right there is about all this 75 horsepower tractor wants to pick up. It'll pick it up off the ground, but that was about it. I'm gonna guess this thing weighed probably 2,300 pounds, and that's an 8-foot section. This thing's been cut since, it's August now. It was probably cut in February, March, something like that. But it may have been cut before then. It may have been cut in January or something, but don't really know. I went and got it in like March, or I think it was in March I went and got it, somewhere right around there. But yeah, the board return, I think they should look at changing it, cut their pitch about in half, and if they could make the throat, like I said, about 2 inches thicker. And I know people grumble and gripe about everything, you know, little things and all like that. I'm not saying it's terrible design, but you know, you should be able to fit a 12-inch cant in there in anything they do, especially on these bigger mills, because it would make my life a whole lot easier. And like I said, I would go buy another one. I would sell this mill tomorrow and have another 40 wide if they would make it with a 12-inch throat with a board return on it. That's how serious I am about that, because it's so aggravating. This right here will take way longer, and I can't get as good of lumber doing it this way as if I had cants and I just turned it up and sliced it down. Now I will tell you something else about cutting big stuff like this. I put a brand new, never been used before blade on here, and I sliced it 25 inches wide. I sliced all these off. When I stood it up to slice 1x12s, it had done got so hot and so dull that I had to put a new blade on it, because whenever I cut, I wish well, you might can see it right here. These are my first 2 cuts right here. That was the first one, and that was the second one. You see how it dipped and dived in it? That's just, the thing got hot, because that's a lot of friction. And that's what I tell people, if you're sawing for the public or something. That's why I didn't want to saw all this like this too, is it dulls your blades way faster. If I could make one cut 25 inches wide to split it into 2 12s, well, I could have sawed this whole log up with one blade. Now it's costing me 2 blades, which, I mean, I can saw all this into 1x12s and saw more stuff. I don't mean this one will be bad after that, but I ruined, I got to resharpen a whole blade because of that. But what I was going to say is, if you're sawing for people and they're wanting real wide stuff and all, charge extra, because it's going to eat your blades up. It's hard on your machines and it eats your blades up. If I go saw for somebody, I tell them a 12 to a 20 inch top, 8 feet to 16 feet. I'm just gonna throw numbers out there. I'll saw for $100 an hour, 35 cents a board foot, 40 cents a board foot, whatever you charge, your normal rate. If somebody's got if you're sawing 20, 30 logs and they got a couple logs that's under 12 inches and over 20 inches, I'm not gonna ding them for it. Or if it's over 16 feet, if you start getting less than 8 feet, I'm gonna hit you. I don't care. If it's one log, I'm gonna tell you that log's gonna cost you an extra $10 because it's so aggravating for me to fool with. And whenever I pick them other backstops up, I run the risk of hitting my blade on something. But when you start getting in that big stuff, it's just rough on your machine. Yes, this machine here, I can cut 40 inches with it. I can put a 40-inch log on there and I can saw it. But every time you put one of them big heavy logs on there, you're bending all this crap down here. Every time it rolls, and boom, there's no way to ease it down. It's gonna go boom, 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 and you're just wearing your stuff out. You're knocking it out of alignment, out of square, all that kind of stuff. And if it's 16 foot long, and why I say 20 inches is because if it's 16 feet long, that thing weighs as much and it's heavy and all that as this log, you know. And you start getting 25-inch tops, you're getting into some big stuff, and it's just gonna wear your machine out, you know. Plus you got to handle all that stuff, you know. It's just a lot of it. Like I was saying, if you got a bunch of stuff over 20 inches and stuff like that, if I'm charging $100 an hour and say 35 cents a board foot, I'm probably going to tell you this log's going to cost you, you know, another $10 or whatever on top of, you know, your board footage or your hourly rate. And you know, it may be $10, maybe $20, whatever you justify using, because, you know, it puts strain on your hydraulics every time you turn, and every time you put pressure on it, when's that line gonna blow? How long is it gonna take you to get another line in there? Yes, this machine's 2 years old with 360 something hours on it, you know. Like, I don't feel like a line's gonna blow. It could, but you got to think about all that. You're wearing all your stuff out, and those bigger logs you're having to run up so high, it's putting more pressure on your bearings and all that kind of stuff. There's lots and lots of factors, and I probably won't think of all of them and mention everything that that goes into why I charge extra. It's oversized big stuff. Now, do I saw it for myself? Yes. But I don't like doing this because of that. Before, I didn't have a board return on there. I had to split this log and it wouldn't have been a problem. I'd have kicked one can off and I'd have stood the other one up, slice, and then whenever I got done, I'd have turned the other can up and slice, you know, and it'd have been perfectly fine. But I'm quickly not liking that part on it. But I'm not taking the board return off because it's so handy to push all this crap back and let me stack it up. And I'm just stacking it here. It's all jumbled up and all. I know that. If it was going to be here very long, it wouldn't be like that. But tomorrow we're taking it off, taking it to chop saw and chopping it up for feeders. I have we got to build about 10 more of them, and I got the gravity feeders out there. We only got one left. We need to build about 10 of them also. This was a hobby, and I didn't think it would turn into a business building feed troughs, but I'm fixing to probably make a LLC business and get a sales tax number and start wholesaling these feed troughs and shoot houses and everything. I've had a lot of inquiries on that, but it's, you know, it's growing. It's a good thing, and I would love to do it and hopefully employ a couple people to build this kind of stuff. And the way some of these businesses are talking, I'm probably going to be able to sell each of them, you know, 20, 30 of these feed troughs and 10, 15 gravity feed troughs, and probably 5, 10 shoot houses at a minimum. Like, this is minimum that I'm talking about, and maybe hopefully double it or whatever, because if anybody knows anything about hunting, we're down here in the southeast, all this stuff is how most people hunt. If you go buy a commercial feeder like a Boss Buck or whatever like that, man, these feeders are $600-700. They're not built like this, you know, they're a plastic barrel, but I mean, I can put 300 pounds of feed in that gravity feeder over there, and it's 175 bucks. They'll probably charge 200 bucks for it. You know, shoot houses. Those shoot houses sitting out there are $900. You go buy a commercial one like a Redneck or something like that, or Muddy Water or whatever they're called. Man, those shoot houses would be, you know, $1,500, $2,000. So people will save a lot of money, and those shoot houses will last. They're made out of wood and all. Like, the technology's changed, and if you pick these up off the ground, I would be willing to bet if you got my deluxe model that cost about $1,000 and you put it up off the ground over 4 foot, it would probably last 20-25 years. Like, I'm not giving you no lifetime warranty or anything like that on it, but you know, it shouldn't rot out in 20-25 years as long as you keep the roof good on it. You need to change your screws on it and stuff like that if it does try to leak. But I mean, that's a short roof and all that. Down here we don't get a snow load or anything, so I'm seeing the business gonna grow. And I look at it, if I sort of do like God, Jesus, or whatever. If I can make 10% profit roughly off of anything, that's all I try to do off of most of my businesses, is about a 10% profit. It may be 15%, it may be 7%, I may make 20%, but if I do, we try to rearrange and make a 10% profit. If we do more than that, I try to give back to the community and all that. And a lot of times whenever I say that, I don't know how it's going to do and work out and all that. So, it's just a learning curve, on it. After you've been in business a while, you still don't really know, because say a 10% profit, I may have, say I sell this feed trough for $100, say I got 75 in it, that's a 25% profit you look at. But I have saw blades, gas, a whole bunch of other stuff in it that I would knock it down to 10. Well, I may make 20 this year, and next year I may make 10 or less, because I have to buy a whole bunch of equipment and all. And that's what I mean, like, it fluctuates, and we're not trying to get filthy rich off of it. I'm trying to employ people in the community and give a good product that people can use and like and all. But anyways, this video is getting long, and I was really just wanting to talk about the board return and all, but that's sort of what's going on in life right now too. And we're just trying to make a dollar like everybody else. If you like the content, stick around, there'll be more, and we'll see you on the next video.